Hey, yo.
I just had to turn the volume up a little bit for this one.
A little bit.
Uh-oh.
Turn me up, Metro.
Oh, we missed it.
Yeah, that was some uncoordinated shit on your part.
We missed it.
Some uncoordination.
What is up, everybody? It's the All Day Everyday Show with Holliday AJ and the homie Manny Ruffin.
What's good, my boys?
Oh, we're wearing the new jerseys today. Look at us, baby. Look at us today.
Here.
As always, fellas.
Sponsor a Premier League team?
Oh, powered by Dimers. The good old fellas over at Dimers helping us out with a new book for this month, and that is Bet Rivers. They have a match, $250 match for your first deposit. So if you want to put in $20 with the code 250match, you can sign up on our link over at www.dimers.com/ADED. If you want to do that, put $20 in, sign up with the code on the link right there, and then you'll have $40 in your account. Or, you know, I know a couple people already who have signed up and they put in all $250 and they have $500 in their account to bet with. It's a great way to start off your new book with a good chunk of change. And as you guys can see, the fellas over at Bench Mob FC,
yes,
you guys
sir.
know who you are. You guys know who you are, right? With the new jerseys. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? With the logo on there, huh? But yeah, the show's not about the logo, okay? The show's not about the logo, okay? The show is about what, sir? Tell me. So
today we are having another guest on this show. We've had a couple people in this gambling space. We like to talk to them, get their insight. This guy in particular, we from our sources have said he might be the coolest guy on gambling Twitter.
Oh, really?
Newlywed. Might be having the best 30-day stretch. We have to check in with his bets. One of those prop bettors that I make sure I check with every single week. Definitely a top 3, top 5 prop better on Twitter. Everybody welcome in Prop Holliday. Let's fucking go, baby.
Holliday, baby. Let's go. As he's getting in here. Oh, my God. We got a weird setup for you today,
All right,
sir.
let's go.
Okay,
We're in.
Look, what you're seeing right now is not what you're going to see in the video, okay? You got the phone in the way. You got the lights in the way. That's just for us, okay? You're not going to see our angle. This is just for us to see you. Thanks for your time today, brother. How you doing?
What's going on, fellas? Good to see you.
Oh, my God.
I got a fresh cut for you guys.
Yeah, I
so
see.
did he. So did he. So
I got a
look
little
at
dicer as well. Look at you, man. You look good. Let me see that hoodie, too. What's that hoodie?
What is it?
What's that hoodie?
The
Yeah.
1982 All-Star Game played in Secaucus, New Jersey at the Meadowlands.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Okay.
I rep Jersey wherever I can. I have to.
There you go. So
That's everybody, my fault. That's everybody from Jersey, bro. They have so much fucking pride in Jersey. I don't understand what is so great about Jersey. Y'all love that shit.
I don't get it. We're the armpit of the country. I don't get it, but I don't know if I'd live anywhere else. But nah, man, I love Jersey. So what's going on, fellas? How you doing?
What's up? So why don't we start this off this way, all right? Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell us, and more importantly, the people that are watching on this gorgeous Sunday morning before football, you know, how you got into betting, this backstory behind that, how you kind of built your following of, you know, just shy of 10,000 and, you know, everything that goes into that.
No doubt. Hopefully, hopefully it's at 10,000 sooner rather than later. So I kind of was raised into it, as degenerate as that sounds. My dad's a big sports bettor, so like when we were younger, we have like a big Irish family. We would do like family pick'em pools. So like $10 a person, you fill out a sheet, you know, win a couple bucks. Family parties were at like Monmouth Racetrack, Meadowlands Racetrack. Family poker games. So I kind of got brought into gambling at a young age. And then getting older, I was, you know, betting. It was still like offshore books in my teens and early 20s. And one of my best friends, one of my groomsmen at my wedding, he worked for a bookie and was making a lot of money at a very young age. And I was doing that too for a little bit. And then it became legal in Jersey, probably the last 4 years or so. And then with Prop Holliday, so Doc Holliday, the Western gunslinger, he was kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. He was a poker player, an alcoholic, a dentist. He spoke like different languages, and I like player props. So Prop Holliday.
There you go.
Started it in September 2020, just before the 2020 football season, kind of as a COVID hobby. My goal was to get like 500 followers. And here we are today. Obviously, what springboarded me really to this high has been was the big parlay the first week of college football.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
9 leg, 27 Gs. Yeah, I mean, so there was a hedge.
You might need to send us that ticket for thumbnail purposes.
Oh, true.
Oh, it's pinned.
Yeah, it's pinned on Twitter. I saw it's pinned on Twitter.
We gonna flex that bitch for you. Don't you worry about that.
So that was my big one. That kind of really put me out there. I had like 3,000 followers before then, and then I hit that one. And then the story behind it with the hedging and kind of running around, because it's not easy to move around thousands of dollars from your bank account to get a hedge in a very short amount of time. So people really dug the story. And now I just, I put out as much content. I think people see that I love doing this. Like I love sports. I love betting responsibly.
Yes, sir.
Never missed a rent payment, never missed a credit card payment, none of that stuff. But I think for what this is becoming and where it's going, I mean, this is a billion-dollar industry in its infancy.
Yep.
That's the scary shit. Like, we don't know where this can go. So I'm loving, man. I'm riding the wave.
Exactly. I love
It's a great way to put it.
Actually, we heard from an unnamed source, I won't say his name, but he did say you were the coolest guy on gambling Twitter. Now, when I scroll through your feed, like you'll see some people, they might have some beef or disagreements, whatever's going on there. I see you never get involved with that. I salute people like you. I respect that. But I don't want to shed any light on that. Here's my question, though. So you seem to bet a lot of props, mainly props, which to me, I'm not on that side of the spectrum. I'm more of a money line, spread guy. I've now gotten the shiny toy syndrome or shiny object syndrome and seen you guys hitting these parlays and fuck it, I'm putting in my 18 prop parlays now, but I'm not really on that kind of spectrum. How did you get into prop betting? Why is that your preferred way to bet? Do you post your props and bet some straights? How do you bet? Kind of give us a rundown on that.
Sure. So, I mean, player props, I always kind of, it tied into doing fantasy football. Like, obviously everybody kind of got into fantasy football and like, you're looking for edges, you're looking for soft lines and soft matchups, game scripts, and you can really play into things like this. So I really just kind of taken to the player prop piece because you really can be profitable. The only downside I would say is there's always the possibility for foul trouble, the possibility for blowouts, the possibility for injuries. I mean, that's the shittiest part.
I hate to cut you off, but even the possibility for them missing fucking stats. How about Blake Griffin last night? We're missing assists. What the fuck is going on, FanDuel and DraftKings? I need my money for that Blake hit. Has it happened to you this season at all?
That one, I mean, I've not had a stat that happened not show up for me. I've been lucky in that regard. I got crushed with a couple big injuries that really swung. But no, I mean, that shit happens. And what's very cool about gambling Twitter, people like me, people like you guys, big name guys, if they see people with tickets that got robbed, we blow it up.
I love that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Tagging this,
the 3x2s.
Right.
I love that shit.
And a lot of books, I give them credit. They update it. They do what's right. They realize there's so many different opportunities for you to go from a FanDuel to a DraftKings to a Caesars. You can lose someone really, really quick. And it's for what could be a couple bucks to them. Pay it out. So I do like how the gambling Twitter community really looks out for one another in that regard, because in why I think it's so much of a community is we're not playing each other. It's not fantasy football. It's us versus the book.
Exactly.
So there's going to be more of that cohesiveness in gambling Twitter versus other kind of communities, because when I win, you can win. If you lose, shit, I've been there too, man.
Right.
We're trying to take their money, not each other. So I think that is a very cool thing about gambling Twitter.
Let me take this to a whole different side of this conversation here. I noticed that you have all this Rams stuff behind you, and you tweeted about your wife buying you the Giants Rams tickets.
That's beautiful.
I'm a Giants guy, so obviously I didn't want to see that game. I knew they were going to lose that game anyway. But talk to us a little bit about how that became a thing, how you're a Rams fan. Is that all LA sports or just the Rams?
So I'll start with the Rams thing. My father grew up in Arizona. Okay. They didn't have the Cardinals at that point. So it was a lot of West Coast teams. It was, the John Madden Raiders. It was Deacon Jones, the Fearsome Foursome. He just loved the Horns as a kid. He ran with it, moved to Jersey when he was like 12 or 13. And then when I was born, he just made me a Rams fan by default. So I've kind of been the odd man out, like elementary school, middle school, high school. But I thought it was cool. I love the colors. I love the horn. There was some down years. There was, now we're going through some good ones. But I'm 32. So I was 5th grade during the greatest show on turf, 7th grade when Vinatieri kicked the field goal and started the dynasty. So that's my football fandom. It is diehard Rams. I've traveled to St. Louis twice. I've traveled to LA twice. I've been to Seattle once. Whenever they come to MetLife, whether it's Giants or Jets, I got to catch the game. And I will say Giants fans and Jets fans are very cool. If you go to a Jets game and it's a division, like you go to a Jets or Giants game and it's divigital,
he's not doing it.
They give you a lot of shit. There's no rivalry between the Rams and Giants. There's no rivalry between the Rams and Jets.
Okay.
I didn't get heckled, and I was respectful too. So
okay.
I'm with my girl. I want to get my ass beat.
Well, also, and you wouldn't. That wouldn't happen in MetLife. You know where it would happen? Ding, 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 ding. Lincoln Financial Field, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a complete misconception.
I don't know.
We do not start anything.
I've heard stories.
Yeah, you have.
70%.
I've seen porta potties flip at Phillies Mets games for like a regular season, one of 180. It's like, dude, this game don't fucking matter.
Listen,
and like he's covered in shit in front of his kid. He's got to do something. Like it's a terrible situation.
It's a Philly culture, bro. I played a high school football game my senior year. We're walking on the field. There's 6-year-olds really saying "fuck you" and throwing the middle finger up to me. So I think it's just a Philly culture. I happen to love it. All the rest of the fans love it. But well. Next question though. So I'm catching the drift here that you're kind of like Jerry and kind of like Cap in that sense where you guys kind of skate around. You guys fan of an LA team, fan of a New York team, fan of a Orlando team. So where do the rest of your teams? How did you decide to be a fan of those certain teams from outside the areas? Because I kind of don't agree with that. I'm more on the spectrum like, listen, this is my sports town. I fuck with Philly or I fuck with Orlando. I fuck with Miami. So who are the rest of your teams and why did you choose to do that way or go that way?
So to clarify, I'm not a fair weather fan. I do not jump bandwagons.
Okay.
I've been diehard Rams my whole life.
Okay.
There you go.
Good disclaimer. Professional.
And that's for NFL. I do have a home. I never played hockey, but New Jersey only has one team left. Devils games are cheap. I don't know all the rules to hockey. I just respect the only thing Jersey has right now, and it's the Devils.
Sure.
So I root for the Devils.
Yeah.
And then NBA, this is very controversial, and it's a very generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's LeBron James, where you got to realize at the time in my life when basketball really started to mean something. So like 2003, I was a freshman in high school. LeBron James, and then that was his rookie year. Prior to him coming out, I'm in middle school. We're watching St. Vincent St. Mary's games on ESPN. So they were hyping this kid as the second coming, and I was in my formidable years. So I rode with LeBron the whole way. I realize it's a millennial thing to root for a guy, not a team. But I think he's, and this is where I get roasted. I do think he's the GOAT.
You won't get roasted.
Yeah, we won't get roasted by us.
Well, welcome to the winners table, the smart people table.
Welcome
there you go.
Club.
There you
God
go.
Damn.
Another member.
So does that mean you were essentially following him? So you followed him to the Cavs as he bounced around? Okay.
Yeah.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes that's more respectable than the fucker that's from Tennessee and he's just a diehard Lakers fan or he's just a diehard Yankees fan. I kind of salute that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the shit I would catch is, so you got to realize, I'm a Rams fan who rooted through terrible Steve Spagnuolo, like the worst 5-year stretch in NFL history. And then they'd be like, oh, you're a bandwagon fan. I'm like, I'm a fucking bandwagon fan. I haven't seen a playoff game in 8 years. I'm rooting for the Rams and you're calling me a bandwagon fan. So it hurt. But I feel like I was on the right side of history. And then when the day comes, I'm going to root for LeBron James Jr. That's kind of my transition.
There you go.
I hope. Fingers crossed. No pressure on me.
Yeah, no pressure, of course. I figured you were going to say for basketball, when you said it was generational.
Knicks and Nets.
I thought he was going to say New Jersey Nets generational. Yep. So I followed him to Brooklyn. So I'm not a bandwagon when they got all these guys and it became this quote-unquote super team. That's where I thought you were going to go with generational. Was that ever a thought process with you growing up or no?
I went to Nets games. My dad took me to NBA games. I always liked the Nets. I took like a college sports journalism course. I got to like go into the Nets locker room and write an article. So I always respected the Nets. And I love Kyrie as a Jersey guy. So I root for Kyrie on the court.
Obviously,
I think he's he's the best Jersey player I think we've ever seen. Doesn't get enough credit or respect in the NBA. I got a cool story. My buddy all right, you guys, UPenn, right? You're in Philly, right?
Yep.
All right, UPenn. My buddy, when I went to high school with, all-time leading assists in UPenn history, Zach Rosen.
Hey, yo.
Do you know? I don't know if you know the name.
Heard the name.
He was a big dude in Philly. So I played him when growing up. I talked to him. He got a tryout with the 76ers in the summer league. Didn't make it. Goes over to Israel. Plays in the Maccabi league. I asked him. I was like, "You've played against talent? Who's the best player you've ever played against?" He's like, I literally couldn't stand in front of Kyrie Irving. Couldn't stand in front of him. Like, he's just that electric of an offensive player.
Nah,
and he was.
I can't dispute that.
Yeah.
I took that story and I'm like, I gotta respect the shit out of this kid. He played at St. Pat's, which is 15 minutes from me and Elizabeth. My girl's from Elizabeth, so all respect to Kyrie and I guess keeping the Jersey thing going.
Yeah. So are you like South Jersey?
Depending who you talk to, there is a Central Jersey.
I'm about to say, so you're in that part of Jersey where it doesn't fucking exist. You're not a part of the whole thing going on in Jersey. You guys just
I'm 25 minutes south of Newark. Like my girl works in Newark. I'm in Avenel next to Rawway. I can be in Manhattan in 50 minutes on a train.
Okay. So it's like Central Jersey, but more like North Jersey a little bit.
Yeah, north.
Okay.
Essentially.
So back to the gambling side of things, because I need to figure out how to make some more fucking money off of these props. So I like to hear people's processes. So we asked Kenny this thing, and he's a real big analytics guy. He looks at numbers and things like that. We talked to Cap. Cap's like, listen, I watch the games over twice, 3 times to get a feel of things with matchups and what's going on the court. How do you go through your research? Is it more of like the eye test, more numbers? There's that app or that program called Prop.cash that I've been using recently now. It's just really fucking good. Guys. Shout out to that guy. He's a fucking beast. How do you do your research and how do you come up with your plays?
I mean, I watch an insane amount of sports. So going into it, I look at a line. A lot of times when they put the lines out, it's pretty close to season averages. And I'll look at a line and go, ooh, that's probably not at his season average. That gets me looking into it.
Okay.
And then obviously the game and the matchup and the game script. Depending on what sport it is, what am I looking at? If it's, this is the worst. You're looking at the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's going to be a high-scoring game. They have the worst pass defense in the NFL. All right, who are they playing? Do they have a good number 1 wide receiver? What's his line at? How did they perform against other number 1 like wide receivers? What did they do against Terry McLaurin? So, yes, I use data. That goes without saying. But when you watch enough sports, you start to get a feel for things like that. Game scripts. You can ride things that aren't analytical. I was all over Cincinnati last week over Baltimore. Why? You got Baltimore coming off the win streak they were on. You're on such a high of 66-yard field goal. Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. They smoked the Chargers. You're coming all these big high energy wins, and now you're going to play the Bengals, who you've owned for the last couple of years. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, something ain't right there. Give me the 6.5, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. And I like Joe Mixon because if the Bengals going to have any success, they're going to be running the ball.
Sounds like me. Shit.
So, yes, there's data. There has to be data. But you also have to have a feel for the sports that you're capping.
Yes.
Like, I won't cap hockey or baseball because I don't know shit about it. But football and basketball, golf, I'm in my zone.
Okay.
Bring it back before I get to this next one.
Wait, then we got a little.
You said golf. I mean.
Oh, do you swing it? Do you have a little?
I was on the golf team in high school.
Let's go.
I play, not well, but I play. I've been playing since I was 8. I have 2 medals in the chip, putt, and drive competition when I was like 9 years old.
That's sick.
Hey, we play too. So if you want, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey,
next season, I'll take a ride, man.
That's fine because now we're doing some stuff with Kenny and Birdman next week and getting some golf stuff out. But yeah, we'll be after we've done this stuff, we'll get on that because that's gonna be great. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about your experience with dimers and we'll get to that, the explanation and all that. But I'm only mentioning them for this point because you had a play on their Instagram or their Twitter, maybe it was both, which was Matthew Stafford over in touchdowns last week. Now, is this maybe a little bit of like a favoritism card there? Or is it just because, your explanation on that, and I saw it, was that Matthew Stafford in a revenge game against the Lions, against his former team at plus money.
Yep.
I mean, why would you not take that? And also, we also had, Manny and I have been going back and forth with this Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods debate on when Goff was there, it was 50% of the time it was Robert Woods. 50% of the time it was Cooper Kupp. This year, it's like 10 receptions, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp's getting this he's about to, I told you this stat when we last chatted. It's like he's on pace to have the highest amount of wide receiver fantasy points ever recorded. So, and then, obviously I want you to touch on the Matthew Stafford, but you've been high on Cooper Kupp. And when you went to the Giants and Rams game, you had Cooper Kupp to score those 2 touchdowns. So, is this just you being a Rams fan that you know this stuff? Or is it just the research that you just spoke about?
Well, what do we just say? We said, yeah, you got to have some data. You also got to have an idea what you're capping. I probably watch the Rams more than any other team.
Right.
Do I bet Cooper Kupp to score 2 touchdowns every single week? No, I don't. Do I bet Matt Stafford to throw over 2.5 touchdowns every single week? No, I don't. But if I see spots where I agree with it, I'm getting the value at plus money with Matt Stafford in a revenge game. Okay, that's all. It's a little off script. But data says he's hit this in 3 of 6. And he's playing a soft team. They're about to hit a 3-game stretch. He's really building his MVP season. He's putting this together. Okay, I got some data. I got some good vibes off the field. And yeah, I'm a Rams fan. It was my lock of the week. It hit. So I don't have a definitive answer on that. I just you got to feel it out. The Cooper Kupp thing, I'm blown away as you guys.
I mean he was also plus 500 in that too, which is also so shitty. Like, I'm really going to take a guy to score 2 touchdowns at plus 500. That's like Aaron Jones tonight at plus 400. I get everybody's out, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. I mean, that, and the really shitty thing about that bet is I had Kupp 2, Jonathan Taylor 2, Najee Harris 2, right?
Yeah.
It was like 20 to pay, I don't know, like a couple grand.
Yep. I saw the tweet.
Taylor 2 hits, Kupp 2 hits. Najee Harris gets the first touchdown. They're sitting on the 1-yard line. They give it to Eric Ebron, and I'm fucking throwing and ripping pillows all over. My wife just thinks I'm a nut. But yeah, man, it's part feel. You have to have data. You have to have a mixture. But looking at it, I watch more Rams than any other team. I have a good feel for these things. I don't bet it every week. If I bet it every week, hit me with the homer card. But if I throw it out there once every 4 weeks, I think a little bit of credibility to it.
Okay, so you kind of fed me this question. So is Cooper Kupp your MVP?
MVP of the season?
Yes.
No, it's an MVP. It's
okay. I was gonna say, I was like, that's a hot take, but that is kind of valuable. I mean, you had my eyes raising on that. I was like, okay.
The only other non-quarterback, I think Derrick Henry is. I
knew you were gonna say that. Because,
I mean, if you're gonna go non-quarterback, but it's gonna be a quarterback, so it is what it is.
So I need a ticket to put in after this show. So who was the MVP pick this year, Pop Holliday? No preparation. On the spot. On the spot.
You think you would sprinkle some? I know, like, cappers don't like the word sprinkle, but you think you would do that with Matthew Stafford?
I've already done it with Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
At 18-1. It's probably down to 10-1 right now.
Yeah.
But going with a non-Rams pick, I think Josh Allen, you're going to see the second half of the season really.
Okay.
There's a recipe to being the MVP. You have to be a quarterback. You have to have a top 2 team in your conference. Mm-hmm. You have to, let's say, now that we have 17 games, call it over 4,500 yards and 30-plus touchdowns. There's only going to be about 5 or 6 guys that really have that opportunity. You can narrow that field down pretty quickly. So that's my little recipe for MVP. QB, top 2 in your conference, 4,500 yards, 30-plus touchdowns. You look at the guys who can do that this year, and you could probably narrow down your MVP odds.
That's great. All right, let's dive into a little bit about what you do outside of gambling, but still in this sports media space, I guess I should say. So talk to us a little about what you do for Dimers, and then your podcast, Bankroll Blitz, and how that started and when.
Yeah. So Dimers are awesome. They reached out to me a couple months ago, a little bit before when I hit the big one. Then when I hit the big one, they're like, we definitely want to start working with you guys.
Yeah, baby.
With me. I do articles for them. I do articles. I do Sunday Night Football. I do I do Monday Night Football. I do Thursday Night Football. I give them a weekly rundown of my favorite 3 player props. So they're getting at least 3 or 4 articles from me. And now I'm going to start doing quick hit videos, lock of the week. I'm 1-0 to start the lock of the week. So I'm filtering through some plays now to find my next one, but the Dimers guys are awesome. I'm trying to get some Dimers merch. I don't know if you guys got hooked up, but I need.
Yeah, we got the Parlay J little thing. Yeah, you didn't get that. You didn't get the care package. Oh, I
gotta get the care package. Maybe after this, maybe being on with you guys, they really see.
There you go. Yeah, get him a care package.
We can actually confidently and proudly say now we are collabing with other guys that we can say we're collabing with our coworkers. Can we not say that? I mean, what the hell?
Dude, they did a cool thing with what was his name? Parlay J. They did something in East Brunswick and Jersey.
We were there.
We were there.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to that. I got caught up in something. I wanted to do another one, whether it be Philly, whether it be Hoboken, Jersey City. Next Timers event they do, we gotta show up and represent.
Hey, listen. Hey, I don't do a lot of leaking, but I would just keep that eye open. Just leave one eye open for that announcement coming your way soon. All right, man. But back to the interview.
Back to the bankroll blitz before we keep leaking too much bullshit. Tell us.
So Bankroll Blitz, my boy Brad Thomas, me and him came together. He does a lot of straight plays, over-unders, teasers. Ooh. I do a lot of player props. I was working with him online. We reached out and was like, dude, we should do something. We're pretty well connected. Like, we get along with everybody. You mentioned it kind of earlier in the podcast. Like, you don't start no shit. You seem like you really like being here and you enjoy what you're doing. Mm-hmm. People in the community see that. So we've been able to get Prop Bet Guy. We got Bo, Prop Stars. We got Monotone Football. So we're getting the big names in gambling Twitter to come on because they like us. They respect what we do. And we think that's beneficial. So you're getting 3 plays from me, 3 plays from Brad, and we're putting together a group TD parlay. We were one off last week with Prop Stars. We went 5 out of 6. Would have been a nice catch if Aaron Jones got one in, but we're just having fun with it. I mean, it's not sponsored by nothing. Me and him just enjoy working with each other. I think he's a cool dude. I think we play off each other pretty well. And talking about sports, man, it's you guys get it. You're sitting there doing the same thing.
No, I was gonna say you first of all, I tune into the fucking Bankroll Blitz for losing out on money. Like if we just straight bet these fucking touchdown scores here, I mean 5 out of 6, I'm making holy shit. Anyway, so you were talking about how you guys came with the idea of the podcast and like you just kind of talk to each other like, hey, like fuck it, let's just do it. And it's crazy because this is probably the second time I told the story on this podcast, but the way me and him made this podcast is just insane. Like I go to the gym late one day. He happens to be in the gym. We talk. I hop on his old show. A couple things go on in his direction. He goes on to do a show by himself. I hop on as a guest of that show. Like, listen, this was pretty fucking cool. Let's just keep doing it. There's something about that's like that spontaneous decision. I feel like that was another spontaneous decision you made to hop on Gambling Twitter as well. So like, what I want to say, give people advice, but tell people like just the importance of just trusting your gut when you get those feelings that like not gambling, not gambling. Like I'm not putting 300 on this team. No. I'm saying like there's something that I want to do or something I fucking give to the world. Like I had this gut feeling. I don't know if I should do it or not. Like kind of talk about how your thought process, how you had the confidence to go out and make this content and do things like this, and if someone's struggling right now at home and they want to do something, they can't find the courage to do it. What would you say to them?
Do it because you love it. If you do anything, don't do it for followers. Don't do it for clout. Don't do it because you think you're going to make it at ESPN. That's cool if it happens. If you do this because you love it, it will never feel like work. People will gravitate towards that. And if nothing else happens, you're having a good time. Like you literally, if you guys did a podcast and no one watched it, I'm guessing the two of you would still have a blast.
Still cool.
But people can tell that the two of you like doing this and they want to watch. And whether that's a podcast, whether that's creating a Twitter, a TikTok, whatever the hell you want to do it because you enjoy it. And it'll never feel like work. I'm mad it took me to 31, 32 to figure that shit out. I wish I did it earlier. My wife, I was on the fence and she was like, just do it. Just see what happens. If no one does it, who gives a shit?
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had that. I tried doing stand-up comedy like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, you're fucking joking.
I tried. I actually went on stage as a Comedy Cellar in New York City. I did like a 5-minute set. Nervous as all hell. Had a couple drinks in me, but it was just my dream. I had to do comedy. And what's cool about comedy is you're never going to play at the Garden. You're never going to go to MetLife and run it down. I was on the same stage as Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr. It's really cool. So, I mean, that was my dream. I got it from her pushing me. She's just saying, do it, get it off your bucket list. This was something similar. Get it off your bucket list. You can tell by the way we're talking. It's easy to communicate. It's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm rolling with it, man. I'm rolling with the punches. I have no expectations. And that's the way to live this or anything you're doing, man. Do it because you love it. Yeah.
And so far, I think for the people that are listening right now, I think you got to understand that, the moral of that kind of response there is what you're saying, to go for it. And it sounds like you've been through enough experiences where you can come back and say, like, look, I literally am, I'm doing a full-time job. I'm on gambling Twitter, right? You just said, I went out and I was a stand-up comic. Like, that's just insane. So some of the questions that we ask, these gamblers that have come on, these professional gamblers that are, in my eyes, basically doing a second job. How do you almost balance that aspect of, I got to respond to these kids on Twitter. I got to make sure I get my plays out. Some of these guys that are following me are only here for my plays and that's it. But there's other guys that are just here to see me tweet, kind of just mess around, have a good time, and also get my plays. How do you balance that with doing a whole 9 to 5 and then, the games are on in 2.5 hours. I got to get this shit out. I got to eat. I got to do this. How do you do all that?
Some days are easier than others, man. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and be like, I just blah blah blah. Nah, man. It's been, just like we talked about it. Like, I just got married. My wife sometimes, she just sees me watching sports. Fucking Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. Okay, take Friday night off. Saturday night, I can let college football go, but Sunday she knows not to make any plans.
Right.
With work, it was a lot easier when I was home. 24/7 because of COVID. I just started going back to like the actual office. That's an hour commute that way. It's an hour commute home. The way you make it work, you don't get up at 7 or 8. You get up at 6. You don't go to bed at 10. You go to bed at 11 or 12. Your sleep gets a little bit less. But like we said, if you love doing it, it's not work. It's, you're having a good time. So I do have to start giving a little bit more time to the wife. We're negotiating a house right now, trying to buy our first home together.
There you go.
That's taking a little bit of time. I got a golden doodle I got to walk twice a day or he shits on the floor. So it's, you make time for the thing. Anyone's like, I don't have time. No, bullshit. You make time for the things you love doing. It's just some days a little bit harder than others. So you pointed out, if there's a day where you don't see Prop Holiday tweeting as much, probably had a rough day at work. Probably had his wife telling him, we need to make dinner, we need to go out to dinner. Right. Those things happen, man.
Yeah,
but
sure.
At the end of the day, you plan around it, you get a little bit less sleep.
So I'm so happy. For 1 second. Let me rebound this for 1 second. Do you feel like, and we've asked this question to almost all these guys as well, and I think it's a great question for guys that are, professional cappers in this gambling space. Do you see yourself not doing this gambling, capping, all this kind of stuff? Do you see yourself doing this full time, and leaving that full time job and taking this over? Obviously, we've seen Cap do it. I know
we also asked Jerry and Kenny the same question. They gave they're on different side of the spectrum, so it's actually like interesting kind of thing to hear, like what side you're kind of on that.
I mean, I would welcome it with open arms. I think where I'm different than other people is, I think someone like Cap, like he's a big VIP guy.
Yeah.
And he's damn good at it and deserves every dollar he makes. I don't think I would ever be a VIP guy.
I figured you were going to say that.
I think my goal, I pitched the idea. I mean, not pitched the idea. I tweeted at Complex Sports. I would love to see gambling become so mainstream,
right, that
it's just like cooking shows. Like remember TRL? I want to be the Carson Daly of gambling. I want to have Action Bronson on every week, or and have Michael B. Jordan and be like, let's make a parlay.
Right.
Me and a celebrity, me and a musician, me and an ex-athlete. Can't do it with
sure,
still playing athletes
and shit.
Evander Kane.
They're betting too though.
Let's make sports gambling as mainstream as everything else in this world: music, art, cooking. And that's where my goal would be, is I would love to get, Complex Sports, Prop Holidays, web show, 20 minutes, me chopping it up with Wiz Khalifa, probably betting the Steelers. Awesome. I'm doing this. Check out Wiz Khalifa's parlay for the week featuring Prop Holiday. Like, that would be my dream.
The 420 parlay on April 20th with Wiz Khalifa, that shit would be fire.
So, that's the goal. That would 100%
but not like, I would love to see gambling go mainstream and not have kind of that negative connotation to it, because I feel like there's always that thing attached to like, well, you always said it when we had Cap, you're gonna lose your house, and you're gonna
be on the side of the road.
But the way I see it is, to me, if you manage your bankroll right and you don't bet more than, like, it's such a healthy escape. Like, okay, I might not be able to throw a $20 parlay, like the long shot Jerry's playing for 20. I might play it for $5, $5.22. You know my units.
Yep.
But for me, doing that research and finding that edge in this guy, like, and he hits it. No matter if I have $4, 40, 20, 100. To me, that shit is so fun just knowing like, yo, I dead ass just sat here for like 2 hours and I was like, yes, Desmond fucking Bain tonight, 15 points, lock it in, and he hits it. There's no better feeling than that.
I use the same analogy I use is you spend $20, you go to the movies, you get entertained for 2.5 hours. If I throw $10 on a Thursday night same game parlay, I'm entertained for 3.5 hours.
Yep.
If you do a Sunday parlay and your 1 o'clock games and your parlay's alive at the 4, you're going to have the most fun you've ever had on a Sunday for $5, $10.
Yep.
So I'm very big on bet responsibly. I do think this is a form of entertainment, and I do think it's going to be as at home as cooking, art, music. And we talk about things being taboo. It used to be that way. Mm-hmm. It's creeping up. I mean, we're seeing ESPN, we're seeing Fox Sports have betting shows.
Yep.
The lines are now going down the bottom tickers.
Love
Fox
that.
Sports. We just saw, I mean, we're seeing it now over the last couple of years, you know, like marijuana was taboo. Seth Rogen has his own strain of weed. Like things that were taboo are changing, like turning the tides culturally. And I think gambling is the next wave of that. And it's still billion with a B, and we're at it's in the infancy, tip of the iceberg with gambling. So I see it happening. I want to be at the forefront of it. But no VIPs in my future. I ain't that damn good.
No, but I just feel like because for me, like, I'm not going to say I'm getting better, but I feel like there's so many, like the time I use just looking at scores and looking at boxes and shit, I feel like I could be using that so worse, like through Instagram or through Twitter or through TikTok, whatever the fuck. But nah, I'm like breaking down these games. I mean, it helps that I talk about sports every fucking day so I can tell other people like, yeah, I'm spending this much time on this because I'm talking about sports all the time. But even if you aren't, like, there's hobbies that don't sharpen you mentally. I feel like if you want to actually bet well and bet properly, you have to be sharp. When you're breaking down these games, you have to be sharp. So honestly, when people have that debate, I think it's a healthy fucking escape if you bet responsibly. But I think it's a healthy escape. I can't see the argument for it's not being so
also,
unless you just don't.
It makes the games that, you know, you don't want to watch or you wouldn't normally watch. You'd be, to your point of
Hawaii's playing at 12?
You know?
Let's go, baby. I'm locked in.
Like, for example, 2 weeks ago, we saw Jets and Falcons.
Yep.
Nobody at 9:30 a.m. Who in the right state of mind wants to say, you know what? I'm going to wake up extra early today and get prepared for a Jets and Falcons game. You know what I did? I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to think that the Jets can cover 3. So I don't care. Here you go. They didn't cover it. Don't matter.
But how excited I was to wake up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday, put on a pot of coffee, and watch NFL.
I loved it.
I loved it. I love it.
So soon.
I love it. But
I was so. I'm going off track. My fault, bro. So we were watching the morning games, me and my pop, and I was like, don't you think it'd be a great idea instead of that one bullshit game they have on the 4 o'clock slate that nobody watches, like Red Zone doesn't even turn to it unless something
right
happens. Why not have that game at 9:30 every week?
I'm right with you.
The Premier League goes from 9 a.m., 7:30 a.m. sometimes to 3. Why can't we go from 9 a.m. to whatever the fuck at night? I mean, it's football. What do you think that'd be a good idea? Are you not against? My pop was against it.
I'm in it, and that's 100% a great idea. That's the vibe on the West Coast. If you go to the West Coast, they wake up at 9 a.m. and football's on in an hour.
So true.
Right.
Their day is done by Sunday Night Football is done by 7 or 8 o'clock.
I know, it's crazy.
And
then we're going out.
When I went to the Seattle Rams game by 7:30, like the game was over, and she's like, "Yeah, the day's done." I'm like, "This is fucking awesome! I'm gonna be up till midnight. I'm gonna be up at 6 a.m. for work. I'm cracking a beer with breakfast, watching the 10 a.m. game." It is honestly, obviously I love Jersey. The West Coast got sports down pat. It is the way to live, to start at 10 and be done by 7, be asleep by 10 o'clock on a Sunday and watch all your sports.
All your sports, exactly. All right, let's circle this back to gambling for a little bit. So we've talked a lot about your success in parlays. You know, you've had your big college football play. And, you know, we talked about your Cooper Kupp 2 TDs and Jonathan Taylor and that big parlay. It seems like you're more of a parlay better. And we talked to a bunch of guys that are more on the side of straight bettors. And you know who I'm talking about when I say the straight bettors. But you also have your plays that, you know, like you said, your lock of the week, which was Stafford's over in touchdowns, and that was a straight bet. So what is that thought process in terms of building your parlays versus, you know what, I'm not going to put this, I may put this one in there, but I'm going to take this one straight. Because I think a lot of problems with, I guess I should say, inexperienced or not as educated, I'm not going to say uneducated, I'm just going to say not as educated bettors, is they'll say, I'll make the parlay, I'll make a 4 or 5 leg parlay. I won't stake, you know, any straights and it loses, but it goes 2 or 3 for 5. And in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I mean, I knew 2 of them were going to hit. Why didn't I just put $5 or $10 on 2 of the straights? You know what I mean? So what's kind of the thought process in terms of building that parlay versus saying, I'm going to just do some straights here and there and kind of build my bankroll versus putting $20 on a parlay and losing it all?
I mean, I really think it depends what you're trying to get out of gambling. If you're trying to get entertainment out of gambling, keep your risk low, do your parlays, don't lose more than, I mean, I don't know what anyone's bankroll is, but if you're just doing parlays, you're going to get your entertainment value. You may hit one over the course of the whole season. You may hit none. But if you're going into it, like, I'm probably going to lose, but I'm going to have the rush of my life because people pay good money for stuff like that. Then by all means, myself, I have probably, of all my plays, I probably have 3 or 4 that I'm like, these get 1 unit, they get 1.5 unit, they keep my bankroll going. And then I'll take like 3 or 4 parlays, 1/4 of a unit, 1/10 of a unit. This is my entertainment. Check in, making sure my bankroll's still going on the phone, but my touchdown parlay is where my brain's at once the bets are in. So I would say bankroll management is very, very important. What you're trying to get out of it is more important. There are people who do straight bets, only straight bets, and they're like, I'm going to win 50 units over the course of this season, whatever a unit is to you. Right. And that is equally as entertaining. And maybe they don't want entertainment. Maybe they'll even watch the game. Maybe they just want, I'm going to make 50 units.
Yep.
No, I love this. I love this. The only reason why I'm sorry, I had to cut you off. I love this because that, to me, no one's right. No one's wrong. That's the fucking right way to gamble. Okay, you break down the games. You say, and this is how I gamble. He can tell you if I'm lying or not. You get your 3-4 games. And there's under this spread, this prop. All right, unit here, unit here, unit here. Then I'm putting a couple bucks on this 2 touchdown parlay. I'm putting a little 5-leg prop leg. But where I disagreed with you is your focus goes to the parlay and not the straights. See, I'll watch my straights all day. I'll watch all my straights. I'll just casually go on the score app. He didn't score yet. All right. So I can't, because that's where my money is. So you'd rather watch the long shot than the actual big money play. Why is that?
I watch Red Zone unless there's like, so I watch Red Zone.
Okay.
I know when I have my straights, I know where my money's at. I don't go higher than 1 or 2 units depending on a play, depending how many drinks I had. But I can keep an eye on that. In the back of my head, and past couple months, shit, I got a wedding to pay for. Now it's shit, I got a house to pay for. Yeah. This 1 unit is gonna keep me going to next week.
Yeah, baby.
It's gonna keep me going to the following week, and that I trust in. This parlay that got my heart racing. I got my Fitbit going through my parlay, right? No bullshit. I'm at the last leg of my parlay. It's a West Coast game for 27 G's. I'm standing still in my living room 3 feet from a 65-inch TV. My heart rate's at 180. Standing. Not walking steps or jumping around. Just
still.
That's a full
you're just like,
that's a 100-meter dash heart rate, bro.
Yes. And people pay good money for drugs that do that. Yes. And this was, $100 get your money back parlay. That's so, I trust in my process. I trust in my straight plays. I trust that my bankroll will be there in the following week. My entertainment, my red zone, my Sundays are hoping I hit a big dog.
So essentially, it's like, I know these couple straights should hit. I'm gonna check them every now and again. These couple parlays could potentially change my life. So I'm going to make sure I watch these and don't miss that moment. That's basically what you're saying.
More or less, yeah.
All right, so for some of the guys that are watching this right now, yes, I see you smiling at the screen. You want to hear the picks that Prop has for the weekend and for Sunday's slate. So if you have any picks that you would like to share with us, now would be the time to please these people that are going to be in your DMs. Well, why didn't you send a pick out on the podcast?
I got a couple I'm looking at this week. It's always tough earlier in the week when lines are just trickling in.
Right.
First one, kind of an oddball. And if you guys follow me or know anything about me, I zag a lot. I'm a big zag guy. Mm-hmm. People are, everyone's running in. Everyone's running away from the fire. I'm running towards it. Hayden Hurst over 19.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
Why? Kyle Pitts is essentially a wide receiver too. He's not a tight end.
You took him last week. You took Kyle Pitts last week, and your other dimers play.
Great pick.
He was over 49.5. You'll never see the line that low again the rest of the season.
That's right.
Kyle Pitts is essentially a wide receiver too in this offense. He runs a different route tree. Don't let anything that says tight end fool you. They tell you otherwise. Hayden Hurst in the last 2 weeks, since Kyle Pitts has really blown up, has essentially become their starting tight end. He's had 23 plus yards in the last 2 weeks. His line's at 19.5. I like it this low. I like it with a 19. For what he's essentially become a number one tight end in an offense where Pitts has established himself as the 2. They're coming out of a bye week. Kyle Pitts has kind of settled in as this. He's one of the highest graded rookies in the NFL right now. He's one of the highest graded tight ends as a rookie. They're out there. They've established themselves, and they're going to get the attention from safeties, double coverage. Defenses will scheme against them. You got Hayden Hurst. It's essentially him getting 2 or 3 catches. He has a little bit more athleticism than you'd think. So at 19.5, I love this line.
Oh, I love it too.
That's great.
I love it too. I was gonna ask. So I don't say you err on the side of, how do I say this? Okay, so when I look at people who bet props on Sundays, right? You would expect, like, just the person that's just on the street and you tell them, hey, you can pick anybody this weekend and go over receiving yards, over receptions, over rushing yards. Who are you going to pick? Well, let me get Derrick Henry. Let me get Julio. Let me get Devontae. But when I watch these guys bet props, they're going for more of like
the lower key
guys, the MVSs, maybe the Christian Kirks, the guys like that.
Yeah.
So are you sharp? Is that where the sharp lines are? First question. Second question is, how important is it to get on these lines early? Because I'll see you, for instance, you'll tweet a play on like a Thursday or a Wednesday. You were a prop bet guy, and I'll be on. It'll be me on Sunday. I swear this happened to me plenty on Sundays. I'll be like, all right, let me see what prop Holliday had. Go through his props. All right, cool. Cooper Kupp over 79.5. Cool. I'll go to MGM or wherever I'm betting. He's at 89. I can't take that. So how important is it to go on these lines early? And are the lower key guys the more sharp guys to bet?
I do think the lower key guys you can get more of an angle on because a lot of lines and a lot of trends are being pushed by the public. Mm-hmm. Who's the public like? Now, I'm not a Joe Schmo when it comes to gambling. I bet such volume and I pay attention. But any Tom, Dick, and Harry that's going to bet, I heard of Derrick Henry. I heard of Amari Cooper. These lines get flushed as soon as they come out by regular guys, regular girls betting, and it tips their lineup. Cooper Kupp is a prime example. He's a guy that's getting a lot of attention. So a Hayden Hurst, it's not going to be a volume on Hayden Hurst that people are hammering 19.5 because that's what's going to swing it to go up to 21, 22.5. Mm-hmm. So I do think some of these low name guys, the volume of bets are lower on them. It keeps the line steady, keeps attention away from them. And then, the guys like Derrick Henry, his rushing and receiving yards combined are 122.5 this week.
Can't bet.
Do I think he can hit it? Of course he can hit it. I don't feel strongly above or below. I really don't. I stay away from something like that because he should hit it, but game script, God forbid an injury, God forbid Mike Vrabel figures out he shouldn't be running his bell cow into the ground in week 8.
Yep.
Like, I'm not doing that. So Hayden Hurst, yes, you do have some risk because it could be the week where they're like, we're going to fade Hayden Hurst out of the offense. But you get a good enough feel for it, and the line's not going to jump too much unless prop bet guy gets a hold of it and throws the whole thing.
I honestly think that's a great play because after what they've seen, they're watching film. They see what Kyle Pitts did, a little one-hander here, a little basket catch here. Like that he's not beating us. He's not beating us. So Hayden Hurst, 19.5. Even his perceptions are probably what, 2.5, 1.5 maybe? I might have a couple Hayden Hurst
4 or 5 targets a game as the tight end now. So you give me 4 or 5 targets, he's got to get 2.
Okay, I'll take my chance.
Give me 2 catches. And that's where the analytics come in when you start looking at depth of target. How far is he pushing down the field before the ball's getting to him?
Oh, shit.
How good is the team that he's playing at tackling? If they're one of the worst teams in broken tackles, this guy's at 8.5 yards depth per reception. All right, he needs 2. He's got to break 1 tackle, 19. Okay. So,
and then it's over. Right.
You guys should be paying for this information you're getting right now.
Right. Yeah. That's stuff that I wouldn't ever think about. So, that's
the data side of it, is looking at it like that.
Yeah. And once again, I just don't. It clearly makes sense.
No, easily.
Like in 2 to maybe 3 catches, he should have that. Do you have another play that you would like to share with us before I ask you one last question on to kind of try to trigger Manny? You don't have to. It's just I just want to throw it out there.
I do. I'm going with Chris Godwin over 74.5 receiving yards.
Ooh.
Now, I know we just talked about
the
big name, right?
You just spun the block a whole day.
Antonio Brown is out again.
Okay.
If you look at Tom Brady, you got Chris Godwin lining up in the slot a little bit more. Tom Brady, his entire career favors a slot guy. Chris Godwin, as sure-handed as they come, I think he's around 80% catch rate. His targets are through the roof when someone like Antonio Brown is out. Mm-hmm. So that's another piece from the data side where you can say, okay, I have prime examples of what this offense looked like with no Antonio Brown. Right. And I look at this team. He's playing the Saints defense, not the same Saints defense we've seen the past couple of years. They have been getting gashed a couple times this year by receivers. And I got what essentially is going to get more. He's probably going to get more targets than Mike Evans. He threw a jab at him this week.
I saw that.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I gave it away. He's like, yeah, what if I never target you for the rest of the season?
Yeah, going to Chris, baby. Where's Chris at?
Tom was like, he said, Tom Go ahead.
I don't think that's actually going to happen, but I do like this line at 74.5 at essentially what I think should be 80. Because he plays so well with Antonio Brown out of the lineup. So Chris Godwin over 74.
You know your bettors, your big time bettors are going to see, Tom Brady saying, "Well, what if I never throw you a touchdown for the rest of the season?" There's going to be guys out there hammer the shit out of Chris Godwin this week. All right,
so as long as this line stays low, 74.5, 74,
and that's fine. Away. That's the 425 game. That's America's game of the week. So primetime game, we should see something special with that one. So I'm definitely going to tail on that one. All right, so the last thing I want to ask you is Manny's going to Detroit this weekend for the Eagles and Lions game Sunday at 1:00. Now, we all know that the Lions are still winless. And can you kind of just shine some light on, I'm trying to just trigger them. Do you think the Lions get their first win of the season against his Philadelphia Eagles team?
Go ahead. Actually, go ahead.
Short answer, no, I don't.
Damn it.
I really don't. I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better for the Lions. They are playing hard for him. They are playing hard for Campbell. Don't get me wrong.
Even with their trick plays and everything that you saw against your boys this past weekend. I mean, that was Dan Campbell at his finest right there.
And that kind of ties into that roller coaster. Like, shit, we just went toe to toe with the Rams.
Yeah.
And we couldn't win. We're 0 blah, 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 blah. It's Jamal Williams, who's a very big part of that offense, is not expected to play. If you cannot get the ball running with Jared Goff at quarterback, someone who's watched him long enough, it's a nightmare.
Yep.
I will say this, if the Lions are going to score, it will be early. They have the way Jared Goff plays is very good on script. Mm-hmm. They will have 20 to 25 scripted plays for Jared Goff to start the game. That's how they scored so quickly last week. Once those scripted plays go out the window, he can't get past his second read. So if you're in the stadium or if you have someone who could bet for you, if you see Detroit go up early 7-0, second quarter you get a live line of the Eagles, I would feel pretty good about it.
Oh, that is a great call. That is a phenomenal pick right there. I love it. I love it.
That is a great read. Phenomenal call. I just am so happy. Okay, so I thought we were going to lose this thing. I'm in the barbershop, and they're asking me, who do you got? Like, you're going to the game. What's up? Like, you putting the money on the Eagles? You putting tickets on the Eagles? And I was like, honestly, I'm not. I think we're going to lose this game. I can see the Lions getting their first W right here.
So they
just went toe-to-toe with the fucking Rams. Nick Sirianni is showing pictures of flowers in the meeting. Flowers to a football team. I'm like, Lions plus 3.5. I don't ever fade my teams. I was heavily considering it, but hearing you say that just made me feel so much better. So,
well, Manny's also been hating the run game and
hating a lot of things.
The poor usage of the run in this Eagles offense
and defensive coverages and checks
and not using your Heisman winner.
I will say this: take a look at some of the Devontae Smith lines. Him to get into the end zone. I think with Ertz off that team, it just frees up a couple more targets a game. I do think Devonta Smith is one of the best route runners very early in the league. Reminds me of Amari Cooper, another Bama guy. So I think Devonta Smith we just saw what Cooper Kupp did. Cooper Kupp's one of the best route runners in the league. He went off against Detroit. Devonta Smith, take a look at his lines. I haven't seen it yet. It's probably going to be around 60, open up maybe 58.5. Him to score, I think I saw was like plus 155. I like Smith to have a big game against Detroit.
Okay, so I know my props when I go into that stadium. Say no more.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Prop, thank you so much for your time tonight, I should say. We really, really appreciate it. And, you be well, be safe, and we can't wait to talk to you more.
And keep
talk to you more soon, right?
on FanDuel's
yeah,
fucking
keep doing
neck.
all that. All right, we'll
FanDuel,
be in touch soon.
Caesars, PointsBet, all of them. I need all their money in Prop Holiday's account. Let's fucking go.
Yep, you be well.
Next spring, we're getting a golf thing in.
Yeah.
Okay. Philly, I'll come down.
And you said it on the video.
Philly.
You said it on the video. So there's no going back now.
I'll definitely play you guys.
We'll be in touch throughout the rest of this football season and into this latter half of this NBA season. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you, guys. Love the show, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that was fire.
Hey, man. That was great. Oh, my God. Guys, if you like this podcast, you know what to do, man. Like the video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, there's a rating that you can give on the bottom. We'd love if you would just hit that 5-star. Maybe not a 2. Maybe not a 2. Always that 5, right? And like the video. Comment down below if you agree. If you're watching on YouTube, comment down below if you agree with props picks. I said caps picks. With props picks. It's hard to say. PP, right? With props picks, right? We had Chris Godwin. We had Hayden Hurst, and we had a little live line action on the Eagles if the Lions come out on top first. If you want to get all the clips on all of this stuff that happened tonight, I know this is a later half of the week that we recorded. You can hit us up on the Twitter. We got some crazy stuff going on there at 8080 Podcast on Twitter and the Instagram for the reels. Boost the Instagram up, guys. I want to see the Instagram where the Twitter is right now. So boost the Instagram up at 8080 Pod on Instagram, and the TikTok is a little weird right now, but in terms of view count and everything, but I'm not really worried about that. It's a whole different side of this, right? You're still seeing the same clips on Twitter and Instagram, but the other bullshit that goes on, you're not going to see anywhere else. So go over to the TikTok. It's just the name of the show, and you'll see everything there, and we can get to 1,000 followers, and you can see us live. If you really want to see us live that badly, we got Twitch where we're gaming, we're placing bets, we're doing awesome fun stuff with all this new gadgets that we have. That's just all day, everyday show on Twitch. Manny, tell them what to do.
Make sure if you made it to the end of this video, first of all, can't tell you how much me and Alice appreciate you because, hey, it's an hour-long video giving us an hour of your day. But make sure, if you did get to the end of this, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave us a comment, tell us how we think we're doing. We appreciate every single one of you. We don't care if it's 8 or 800 of y'all. We're rocking every single day. It's the All Day Everyday Show, boys, signing off.
Yeah, let's go, baby. You guys know what to do, man. Stay great, be great, because you fucking are. You've been listening to the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ.
Shout out Benchmark too. Shout out Benchmark.
And the homie Manny Ruffin. My name is Alex Jacobs, but you can call me All Day AJ. Peace out, baby. Good luck this weekend.